Okay, we're recording now. All right, so a very simple explanation of epigenetics, which is a huge piece of science, a lot of research in epigenetics right now. The study of biological mechanisms that switch genes on and off. That's as simple as it gets. And epigenetics controls the genes. So that's a very simple explanation. Epigenetics is everywhere. It influences is astounding. What you eat, where you live, who you interact with, when you sleep, how you exercise, even aging. All these cause chemical changes that turn genes on or turn them off, from healthy cells to disease cells and vice versa, from disease cells to healthy cells. Epigenetics shows the development of chronic disease. Drug development, which is very interesting, is not based on based on genetics, not on epigenetics. They don't determine where chronic diseases are produced and then develop a drug on that basis. So epigenetics is a much clearer, smart way of working with disease. When you stop and think about it, if you can reverse gene state and make bad cells good, then we can eliminate a lot of horrible diseases, such as cancer, slowing the aging process, stopping obesity, and obviously a lot more. To me, epigenetics is ultimately mind-blowing. I think it's really important to have sort of a word picture of what epigenetics is, and probably a good thing to explain to you what is the epigenome. You have the DNA. Everybody knows what the DNA is. We used to think it was the driver of the cell, but it's not. The epigenome actually sits on top of the DNA. The DNA is expressed healthy or unhealthy by the way the epigenome expresses it. So a little word picture, and I like this word picture because I can relate to it. Imagine a pancake. Everybody's had one of those, is your DNA, right? A pancake on a plate has really, it's sort of tasteless. It doesn't have any pizzazz. It doesn't do anything for you. So there's not much going on until you put the epigenome on it. And the epigenome is the blueberries, the syrup, the whipped cream, and then kaboom, you got yourself an extraordinary breakfast, lunch, dinner, doesn't matter. But the pancake isn't worthwhile unless you put that topping on it, and that's what the epigenome is. So now that we sort of understand what epigenetics is and what the DNA does and what the epigenome does, we're going to move on to what is lunasin. Lunasin is the first dietary compound with an identified epigenetic mechanism of action. So it is the first compound ever found to have a mechanism. The mechanism by which it works is called histone acetylation. I'm not going to give you too many big words here, but this one's really important because that's what it's all about. Histone acetylation was first identified by Dr. Alfredo Galvez in 1996, and he actually patented that mechanism in 1999. Dr. Galvez joined ReLive after collaborating with Dr. Carl Hastings, who is ReLive's or was ReLive's food scientist, on a formulation which protected the lunasin molecule from being broken down in the gut, which would render the lunasin totally inactive. And that's very, very important to understand, because lunasin is extraordinary, but if you can't get it into the cells, it has to be swallowed, or it used to be have to be swallowed but it's got to be active, and gut juices would break it down. So this was the first bioactive lunasin It's called Luna-Rich X. No other company has Lunacin that compares to the bioactivity of Luna-Rich X, another very important piece of information to know. There are no competitors. You may have seen, I had someone the other day say, well, maybe I'll just get Lunacin on Amazon. And I said to her, okay, let me try to give you some background about epigenetics and Lunacin. And this is really important because it'll come up if you're talking to somebody. And it's really very important for them to understand, don't waste your money on it because it won't work. I'm not talking about Luna-Rich X. I'm talking about if you find it on Amazon or any other outlet. So what is really interesting now, Dr. Galvez is working on a higher dose that has greater bioactivity. Dr. Galvez has a bioassay, another big word, and it shows how much activity Lunacin provides in inhibiting histone acetylation. Now, what is a bioassay? Another term that is really important to know. It's just a measurement of concentration or potency of a substance by its effect on living cells or tissues. So Dr. Galvez has an actual bioassay that shows how active Lunacin is on inhibiting histone acetylation. Interesting enough, Dr. Galvez never published this bioassay. And there was a very important reason he did not publish it. Because if he had, someone would have stolen his information. Because when you work with a research group or a university, it's always the university that takes the discovery. And the discovering scientist gets very little acknowledgement, but it's more important than that. He can't run with it and go with it and make it better. So this was to our, I mean, we were very, very lucky that Galvez did this. So epigenetics research is being validated by other researchers everywhere now. You can go on Science Daily. There's another one, it's called Nature Science, I believe, and you can just see reams and reams of information. Just go on Google Lunacin. You'll see plenty of studies showing all sorts of studies being done with Lunacin, including cancer and other studies. For Lunacin to work, it has to be in combination with soy and with proteins to be active. Very, very important. They protect Lunacin so it doesn't degrade. And honestly, the best type of administration that you could have with Lunacin would be sublingual, which means it goes under the tongue. Sublingual administration, what happens is it is absorbed within the bloodstream within a few minutes. It doesn't get broken down in the gut, goes right into the bloodstream, right into the cells. So that's the best way of administration. So the mechanism of action of Lunacin activates the immune system two ways. We have two types of immune system in our body. One is called innate, that's the one we're born with. And Lunacin turns on specific genes in that innate immune system. And actually that innate system grows or changes as you grow older. The second type of immune system is called adaptive immune system. And Lunacin helps antibodies to defend against viruses and bacteria. Lunacin, obviously, what I've already told you, inhibits histone acetylation, which is when histone is acetylated, you get a lot of disease. So if you can stop that from happening, you're going to take care of a lot of these diseases. Lunacin also decreases inflammation, and inflammation is a factor of cancer. So if you can shut down inflammation, you're going to have a better chance of stopping cancer cells from growing and metastasizing. Lunasin is well known in cholesterol lowering. Just kind of an administrative aspect here, 4 to 5 capsules at bedtime help decrease cholesterol. Why is it better than cholesterol medication? Because cholesterol medication stops all cholesterol, which is dangerous because your body needs cholesterol to function. So what Lunasin does is it interferes with the producing of cholesterol. So you do have some cholesterol, but a lot of it is decreased. It helps overall cell health, which is really important with everything because we're just cells. That's all we are, a mass of cells. So I want to give you a little bit more explanation of what is histone acetylation. Both that term, acetylation and deacetylation, are essential parts of gene regulation. Histone acetylation makes the cell more susceptible to cell weakness or disease. You'll hear Dr. Galvez talk about histone tails, which look like actual tails if you look at it on a slide. And that part of that cell is inhibited from being acetylated, so it doesn't go wacky. A biomarker that is very, very important to disease is called Hg lysine 14 acetylation. You'll hear Dr. Galvez talk about that. It's a big biomarker shown as a key epigenetic biomarker in cancer, chronic inflammation, heart disease, leukemia stem cell disease. By the way, there is no treatment for leukemia stem cell, no chemotherapy that works on it. The gene associated with leukemia stem cell is a gene that is histone acetylated. Lunasin inhibits that biomarker. So now explaining a little of Lunasin, how it works, how the mechanism is, I want to move on to something really exciting. RLV has a new product coming out. It should have been out by now, but it was being actually manufactured, if you will, in Texas, and they had that horrible storm down there, and they shut down the plant. But this is a new product, CBD and Lunarich X. And if you know anything about CBD, and a lot of people have a misnomer about CBD, they think you get high, and that's not it at all. There are different types of CBD. This one is just plain CBD. And part of your nervous system is called the endocannabidiol system. And CBD stands for cannabidiol. And when things affect us like stress and environmental factors and even disease, overworked, too much on our plate, whatever, our nervous system gets out of whack. And they don't really know how to help it to get back to its normal function. CBD is an extraordinary natural compound in nature that will help the nervous system get back to normal. But what if you combine it with Lunarich X, which is an anti-inflammatory, improves cell health, stabilizes cells? You've got a mixture that is extraordinary. Using nanotechnology. What is nanotechnology? It's actually breaking down a component into the tiniest components that we know, which allows, if you remember, I just talked about sublingual administration. This allows for this to be sublingually taken now. And it will produce the most successful results. And the key here, it produces potent cross the blood-brain barrier. Now, what is the blood-brain barrier? Well, your body is made so well that there is a barrier to protect the brain from chemicals. A lot of chemicals cannot penetrate that blood-brain barrier. Well, this will. And why is that important? Because it's going to affect neuroinflammation that is very common in Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and other diseases. I mean, we can talk about MS. We can talk about, oh gosh, was on the tip of my tongue. I'll come back to it. But there are plenty neuroinflammatory diseases that this is going to have a huge impact on. So that's coming, and I think it's coming real soon. So, you know, if you've never tried the CBD, it's extraordinary. I've had a lot of people say, wow, I can sleep better, I feel better, I can think better. I'm not a nervous wreck all day. So it really does what it said, I mean, what it's set out to do for the human body. So what about Luna-Rich X in RLV products? What's the benefit there? Well, there's an extraordinary synergism between the power of each other. They boost each other 4 to 6 times. There's 4 to 6 times more benefit. So in other words, Luna-Rich X boosts the nutrients and the nutrients boost the Luna-Rich X. That's why we see such extraordinary results with people's health. So the biggest boom here, I can tell you, is Luna-Rich X is exclusive to RLV only. Worldwide exclusivity. What does that mean? One word, opportunity. What does opportunity mean? Different things to different people. Opportunity to change people's lives, improve their health, give them a wellness that they've never felt before. And then there's an opportunity to get involved and to help people. That's, to me, there's nothing better, nothing better. So what I want to do is, oh, you can follow, please do this. Follow Dr. Galvez, Alfredo Galvez, on Facebook. You can get a lot of information from him. And sometimes it's hard to understand, but you can figure it out just by reading things. You can put it together, what he's trying to say. Okay, so I'm going to, Wendy, you want to unmute yourself, everybody? Just go ahead and, can you unmute yourself? Can somebody say something?
Hello.
Okay. All right. So let's see if this is going to work. It failed last time. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's see.
It worked.
It did? Okay.
I can see your mouse moving.
Well, let's see. Let's wait.
Something popped up early and then it went right off. Oh, it's spinning. Okay. Well, that's my mouse.
It says you are sharing your screen. Why isn't it?
When you first clicked, something came up and then it went off.
All right, let me try it again. Nothing, huh?
No.
All right. Oh, jeez. This is frustrating.
Are you
Second time that has happened, huh?
Are you picking the right screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it off of Pages. I've got it up here. I can see it.
Oh,
It's,
you can see it, but we can't.
yeah,
That's weird.
but it says you are sharing.
Try sharing your whole desktop just for a hoot.
Yeah.
And see if that makes it work.
My desktop. Oh,
Just-
wait a minute.
Just to see if it, if it makes a difference.
Oh, Huh? There it is. Can you see it?
See
No.
you.
Now we see you.
Can you see it?
Now we're back to the tiles.
We're back to just our, that's right.
All right. You know what? Let me stop the recording.
Um,